After EA took the exclusive license in 2004, companies like Sony, Midway, and 2K could not make NFL games anymore. And while 2K would decide not to release a football game that next year, both Midway and Sony would create football games with a lot of mature themes to hopefully make up for the NFL's absence. Now, we already know that Midway ended up with Blitz the League, but Sony would plan to create a game called Road to Sunday. Now, this game would have followed the story about Blake Dugan, someone who inherits a pro football team after his father is killed in a suspicious explosion while in Jamaica, but is in trouble due to the fact that his father borrowed money from a Jamaican kingpin and was in debt at the time of his death. And with the debt now being placed on Blake himself, he wants to find a way to use the football team he just got to hopefully make the money back. In this story, Blake and his football team tries to win a championship while exploring underground gambling and fighting leagues that Blake assigns his players to participate in. And these off-the-field endeavors affected the actual gameplay, as fighting an opponent player in the fighting league could lead to them getting injured and affecting their performance in-game. And you can tell this has a lot of similarity to Blitz the League, and I don't think the game would have ended up being like super popular. I feel like it at least could have gained like a somewhat of a decent little fan base, similar to Blitz the League. Like, it didn't sell crazy, but the game is a fan favorite. Like, even to this day, like, it still gets thousands of views on YouTube. But since this game didn't meet first party standards that Sony had for themselves, they would ultimately decide to cancel the game. Back in the 1990s, Sega had a popular football game series called Joe Montana Football. Now, it really depends on what you would consider the last game of this series. The last game with his name included in the title is NFL Football 94, but the final Sega game he was actually featured in was NFL 95. And later we know that Sega would end up rebranding into the NFL 2K games. But in late 2014, Joe Montana would start tweeting teasers for a new video game, including him in a mocap suit doing motion caption for his throwing. And this gained a lot of hype in the community, as this would be the first time in a while Madden would have some competition. And in early 2015, the first screenshots would be posted of the game, including the Unreal 4 engine logo, giving players more hope for an actual Madden alternative or competitor. But sadly, this hope would be crushed when Superstar Games, the developer of Joe Montana, would officially announce the game at E3, with new screenshots and gameplay using the Unreal 4 engine. The E3 announcement also came with an interview with the CEO of Superstar Games, Damon Grow, where he would reveal that the game was set to be released on mobile in 2016, and potentially a PC release if the game did well. And after this, the popularity of the game would shoot down crazy, as before then fans were led on to believe that this was going to be a console game on PS4 or Xbox One. And the popularity of this game would shoot down so much that they would end up not even releasing the mobile game they had planned at first, technically, because they would release a VR game the next year on Samsung Gear VR and Google Daydream called Montana 17. And I'm gonna show you some quick gameplay of this, but the reason I'm putting this in this video because I'm pretty sure that is not the game that was originally planned for. Not saying that game would have been good either, because it would have been mobile. No one would have really cared, but still, this is not what I've seen in those first screenshots. There has been hundreds of Super Mario games released for various consoles, like the most popular Mario Kart and Mario Party games. But in this large catalog of games also includes sports titles like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, baseball, basketball, and even Olympic games. There's one sport that I didn't bring up, American football. Now, to be fair, even though American football is growing day by day, it isn't that much popular in other places of the world. But we've even seen companies like Disney make American football games, with Disney Sports Football releasing a part of their Disney Sports game series in 2002. I will say a Mario football game nowadays seems unlikely, especially with the newer Maddens being ported onto the Nintendo Switch, but this always wasn't the case. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Nintendo planned on making a Mario NFL American football game for the GameCube. They would have Retro Studios, a game developer studio collaboration between them and Iguana Entertainment founder Jeff Spangenberg, to make the game. The studio would start working on 4 games after being founded in 1998, including an action adventure game called Metaforce, a vehicle combat game called Car Combat, a role-playing game called Raven Blade, and the NFL game. During the early parts of development, Nintendo would actually decide to take Mario out of the football game, opting for a more simulation football game they would call Retro Studios Football. And with the football game and 3 other games being developed by a new team that's still growing, it would cause a lot of stress and troubles early on, with development schedules being delayed and execs from Nintendo that were not liking how their games were turning out. Retro would really need something big to break them into the door, and in 2000 they would get that opportunity. Retro Studios would be given the rights to make a Metro Prime video game. And with this big break, Retro would decide to put all their resources and energy into creating the game, meaning that they stopped development on all of their other titles, including the Retro Studios football game. And at first, they would just put a pause on all development, but by February of 2001, they would decide to cancel all of the games they were working on before. Even Raven Blade, which was demonstrated at E3. And even though we never got an official announcement or even the trailer, there is video of beta animation for the game that I'm gonna show right now. Now this right here is just a tech demo footage of the player just walking on the field. Now if you notice, the player is changing gear. He even takes his helmet off at some point. Neck rolls, arm sleeve, armbands, and all that other stuff. And now this kind of intrigues me because there was a rumor that a creative player feature was going to be in the game. Now looking at these player models, I actually do like them a decent amount. I wouldn't say they're like better than like Madden's or 2K's back then. I would honestly have them on par with that. I would definitely take these graphics over the NFL Game Day and NFL Fever graphics. And on top of that, we actually have gameplay animation right here. And when I was doing research for the game, the animations were being praised the most. Now I would like to just keep this in mind that a lot of these are canned animations. Like a lot of these are set up scenarios, so I don't think these will play out the exact way that these will look inside these right here. And plus these are very early animations from the start of development too. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is that even though they wanted to take a more simulation route with this game, you can still see a lot of arcade factors. Like most of these tackles, they're like flipping around. Someone got slammed at some point. Like, yeah, bro, they wanted to bring the spice to this game. Oh! But in the end, Retro Studios would decide to work on the Prime Metro games, which would be a smart decision as the games will go on to sell millions of copies and be the reason why they're still around today. Now, our final game today, surprisingly, is a Madden game. Madden NFL 96 was released on the Sega Genesis, Game Boy, PC, and SNES. But there was also supposed to be a version released for the new PlayStation 1 that could run games in 3D. And so to make sure every version of the game would be up to par for release, EA Sports would hire Visual Concepts to make the PlayStation version of Madden 96. Now starting off, they had a shortened time to get this game out. The PlayStation development kits had more memory than the final store units, causing the game to stutter. The developers will also struggle with the PlayStation's new hardware, learning the C program language and working with 3D graphics for the first time. And they would end up totally botching this release, leading to EA Sports canceling Madden 96. And after this, they would hire Tiburon Entertainment, now known as EA Tiburon, to port their PlayStation games, making Madden 97 their PlayStation debut. And one thing I just want to mention real quick, like think about it. Like they hired Visual Concepts to work in that game. They completely destroy it. They literally cannot even release the game. Years later, they go on to help and develop NFL 2K, really the only football game series that gave Madden a run for his money. What if they were really just sabotaging Madden the whole time? And think about it, bro, this beef goes deeper. Like then after years, they take the exclusive license. Then 2K takes the MLB license. I'm telling you, bro, we're in a spiritual warfare. Alright, man, but all jokes aside, that was my list of canceled American football games. Normally, I wouldn't even preface that I'm talking about American football, but I felt like it was important to do it in this video. As always, let me know if I missed something in the video. I'll be swearing I don't be missing anything, but I somehow end up missing something at some point. And comment down below which one of these games you would have wanted to play. Me personally, I would have loved to see how Road to Sunday would have turned out. Had been multiple football games with like storylines would have been dope, like honestly. But it's all good because at the end of the day, we have the great Madden NFL series to be here for the long run, man. Let's go. Man,